Disastrous Hurricane Milton in Florida. Just 2 weeks after Hurricane Helene devastated the shoreline, Hurricane Milton moved through the Gulf of Mexico into Florida on Tuesday, posing an extremely dangerous threat to one of the state's major population centers. The Tampa Bay area, which is home to over 3.3 million people and has avoided a direct hit from a major storm for more than a century, is at risk from the system. Other parts of Florida's west coast that were devastated when Hurricane Helene made landfall on September 26 are now being threatened by Milton. As a Category 3 hurricane, Milton struck Florida's already storm-ravaged west coast on Wednesday night, posing a threat to large portions of Tampa Bay, Sarasota, and areas still recovering from Hurricane Helene's devastation. Hurricane Milton was dubbed the storm of the century by President Joe Biden, who also advised locals to follow evacuation instructions. The powerful hurricane made landfall close to Siesta Key in Sarasota County, bringing with it tropical storm-force winds, torrential rains, and tornadoes that were advancing inland. Several news organizations and Tampa citizens also shared footage of Milton's winds tearing apart Tropicana Field's roof. The Tampa Bay Rays of Major League Baseball play in a domed stadium that was recently used as a base camp to assist the Florida Department of Emergency Management in the lead-up to Hurricane Matthew. The sustained winds in Milton have decreased from 145 mph to 120 mph, making it a Category 3 hurricane. However, the storm's magnitude has increasing the potential devastation. After making landfall, Milton deteriorated to a Category 2 storm, posing a threat to parts of central Florida with devastating rains and damaging winds, as stated in the 11 p.m. ET alert from the National Storm Center. According to the Hurricane Center, Milton is expected to keep its hurricane force as it moves across Florida overnight. Milton was 30 miles south of Orlando when its winds decreased to 90 mph around 2 a.m. ET on Thursday, classifying it as a Category 1 hurricane. By Wednesday night, Hurricane Milton had already destroyed about 125 homes, according to Florida officials. Data on power outages indicates that by early Thursday, over 2.7 million individuals were without power. Mobile homes and senior communities accounted for the majority of the lost residences, according to Kevin Guthrie, director of Florida's Division of Emergency Management. To make sure the most vulnerable people in Florida are taken care of, we're attempting to reach them, he remarked. Yet Guthrie reassured Floridians, saying, "We are with you." Following Storm Helene, which damaged cities in 6 states, comes the most recent storm strike. Over 200 people were killed by Hurricane Helene, which made landfall in Florida as a Category 4 storm on September 26. The insured damages from the storm are believed to have been between $10.05 and $17.5 billion. With tropical storm force winds reaching 255 miles, as reported by the Hurricane Center, Milton raises the possibility of much more extensive devastation. Earlier in the day, millions of Florida residents who were tired of the hurricane had been told to leave, especially in the Tampa area, which was first predicted to be in the storm's direct path. With the metropolitan region housing over 3 million people, Tampa has not seen a direct major hurricane strike in over a century. The Hurricane Center stated that water levels could rise as much as 12 feet due to storm surge from Milton. This year, Milton is the third storm to hit Florida. They're the most Florida landfalls in a single season. It ties 2024 with 5 other years, according to Phil Klotzbach, a senior research scientist at Colorado State University. 1871, 1886, 1964, 2004, and 2005 were the other years. At a conference earlier on Wednesday, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis stated that the state is ready. According to him, 180 high-water vehicles and hundreds of search and rescue workers have become enmeshed in potential storm impact zones. Along with 50,000 linemen who will work on restoring electricity after the storm, around 6,000 state-affiliated National Guard members, and an additional 3,000 from other states are prepared. Advancements. According to the storm agency, flash flood emergencies persisted in place for portions of west central Florida early on Thursday. Just after 1:30 a.m. ET, the National Weather Service stated that 5 to 9 inches of rain had already fallen and that 3 to 6 inches more of rain were expected in the notified region. Authorities are reacting to a water main break in St. Petersburg, Florida, which would impact potable water services across the entire city, according to a statement from the officials. At midnight, the city turned off all potable water services. Officials issued a warning, estimating that the temporary outage would persist until the necessary repairs can be completed. According to the Weather Service, strong winds and exceptionally high rainfall rates were predicted along and north of Interstate 4. On Wednesday night, a gauge near St. Petersburg, Florida, recorded 5.09 inches of rain in 1 hour. 18.31 inches of rain fell in 22 hours, according to a gauge at Albert Whitted Airport in St. Petersburg. A 3 to 5 foot peak storm surge is predicted along the northeast Florida shoreline. Hurricane officials reported that severe rotating thunderstorms known as tornadic supercells, which have the potential to create tornadoes, were starting to move across the Florida peninsula. Reports for Okeechobee, Indian River, St. Lucie, and Martin counties were received by the Weather Service office in Melbourne on Wednesday that suggest multiple tornadoes touched down. According to William Ulrich, the office is warning coordination meteorologists. As power outages increase, winds in the Tampa Bay area cause havoc. Strong gusts in downtown Tampa cause traffic lights to come down, signs to fly off the ground, and construction barricades to skid across the damp pavement. Milton's winds also tore off plywood intended to keep the storm out, and part of the brick front of a downtown building fell, partially obstructing the road. By early Thursday, almost 430,000 homes and businesses in Hillsborough County were without electricity. Services in the area started to be affected by power outages. Due to a power outage, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office announced on X, formerly Twitter, that its non-emergency line is presently unavailable. The office told locals to dial 911 in any emergency, while the authorities restored service to the line. Tampa Bay Water requested that locals limit water use immediately due to power outages in certain facilities and its regional water supply system. DeSantis stated earlier this week that first responders and debris cleanup crews would have a 10,000-person base camp at the St. Petersburg Stadium. Authorities were in contact with persons inside the stadium and assured their safety, according to St. Petersburg Fire Rescue, which spoke with ABC News. Hurricane surge in reverse in Tampa Bay. The water started to stream out of Tampa Bay as Milton got closer, a phenomenon known as reverse storm surge. This phenomenon occurs when a cyclone makes landfall and its strong winds push water out of a bay or other canal. Along the coast south of Tampa, neighborhoods were being inundated by storm surges, with some areas experiencing surges in water levels of up to 8 feet. Authorities near the coast of southwest Florida issued a warning, stating that the storm surge might keep rising into the early morning hours. On Wednesday night, Tyler Fleming, a meteorologist, confirmed to USA Today that a reverse surge is occurring in Tampa Bay. Although he stated that the bay's water levels are lower than usual, he nevertheless advised people to stay indoors until authorities gave the all clear. Does Milton have a hurricane coming up? There are still over 7 weeks left in the Atlantic hurricane season of 2024, so it's likely that the devastating Hurricane Milton won't be the last storm to hit the United States this year. In fact, forecasters are keeping a close eye on a number of other systems in the Atlantic basin, including one that may develop into Tropical Storm Nadine later on Wednesday and is located east of Florida. The system would be the 14th named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season of 2024 if it develops into Nadine. There are typically 14 storms during the season, which runs from June 1 to November 30. Smash that like, drop a comment, and hit subscribe because you know you don't want to miss the next vibe.